Okay.
Good evening, Chair Rasmussen. The time is now 5:15 and you can call this meeting to order.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'd like to call the December 16th, 2025 meeting to order of the Joint Commission of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. And I would ask Bo to explain to our online participants how they can participate in this meeting in Spanish.
And sorry for
Members of the
interrupting. Can you
public,
hear me?
live interpretation of this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services in Zoom, click the interpretation globe icon in your Zoom meeting webinar controls and select the Spanish language. At this time, I would like my colleague Zuli to provide these instructions in Spanish.
Bien. Buenas noches a todos. Queremos decirles que la interpretación en español está disponible. Por favor, hagan clic en el icono de globo terráqueo que está en la parte de abajo de la pantalla y elijan el canal.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, do I have a motion? Oh, I need to make a statement about the agenda. So when the agenda originally went out, there was some attachments for the education inspection that were not included. Those will be posted onto the website, and we did try to get those out to as many people as possible. So that would be the only change would be the addition of those documents. But do I have a motion to, oh, do you need to do roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Go
totally
ahead.
fine. Vice Chair Huber Levy,
Here.
Commissioner Ginevro,
Here.
Commissioner Ali,
Here.
Commissioner Blanco, Commissioner Bocanegra,
Here.
Commissioner Chen, Commissioner Clemmer, Commissioner Ling, Commissioner Patton,
Here.
Commissioner Vekintesh, Commissioner Yuan,
Here.
and Chair Rasmussen.
Here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now back to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Commissioner Bocanegra, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Vice Chair Huber Levy, thank you so much. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed? Anybody wishing to abstain? Okay, thank you. Okay, we have something very special tonight. I'm going to go up to the podium here. So tonight, I'd like to recognize Vice Chair Huber Levy, who this will be her last meeting. So Vice Chair Huber Levy and I joined the commission around the same time, 5 years ago, and she's really been a champion for education, improving access and opportunities for youth. She played a pivotal role in doing our Peer Point project, where we raised almost $500,000, right? And she was instrumental in that. That wouldn't have happened without her efforts in that program. Now that program is in many schools throughout the peninsula. Karen has served as vice chair either of membership or administration, I think the entire time she's been on the commission. And she has been a very steady presence for us. She consistently reminds us how important it is to build relationships, how important it is to be inclusive of everyone, how important it is to hear everyone's point of view. It has been a privilege to work with Karen. She's also did an amazing job creating the voting rights program for our incarcerated youth and for other youth throughout the county. So I just want to take a moment. Karen, can you come up? I just want to present you with this award. What the award says is it has our logo. In recognition of your 5 years of distinguished service, dedicated advocacy, and steadfast commitment to improving educational outcomes for justice-involved youth in San Mateo County.
Thank you, everyone. It's been an honor and a pleasure working together, and I hope to continue to work with all of you, just from outside the commission, but adjacent to the commission and supporting the same goals. So thank you.
Okay. That
Do-
leads us to,
To the chair,
yes,
I'd like to say something.
yes, please, please.
So I know I still consider myself new here. And I did watch the meetings about 2 years worth prior to getting appointed. But I think I came in when you were just at the end of the youth voting, make sure that our kids who are in the facility are voting. And so, but I haven't known you as long as Paul and Johanna here, but I know it's a loss to the commission, but I know that the work that you are about to, the position you're about to take this coming year on a statewide organization, I don't see it as a loss to us. I see it as a gain for not only for the work that you have been doing, and the work that you're going to continue to do, because I know that's going to open doors for you. And so it's even our youth's gain. So thank you for all the years of dedication and commitment and the passion that you brought to this commission. And I look forward to still working with you in that in your new capacity.
Thank you, Jennifer. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to follow up as well. And I want to say thank you, Karen. We have known each other for years. We have worked alongside of each other for years. And you have always been the anchor on restraint. I remember when you first joined the commission, again, we've gone through turbulent times at times in doing the work, the passion. And you've always been that one to keep everyone calm and always looking for ways to work with someone. Even when we have felt attacked, you have always extended the olive branch. Hands down, respect you, and we will definitely miss you. And again, you'll be on speed dial. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you for those words. And I'm, when you said the anchor, I'm glad it wasn't dead weight. So
No.
anchor's okay.
I guess I definitely echo everyone's sentiments that have already been said already. But Karen, you're just such an amazing person. You're just a quiet strength, but also a loud strength also when needed. As Paul said, you're just so level-headed and you just give so much insight and you just have so much passion and just so much grace and tact. And you just, I'm just in awe of you, just to be honest with you. And I'm excited for everything that you have coming up, and we will miss you. But of course, we're going to keep on working together because I know that this is your passion and our passion, and we're still going to stay connected forever.
Thank you so much for those kind words. And I really hope that we all stay in touch and look for ways to collaborate and elevate our common goals. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, well, I appreciate you. And I miss you. Okay, with that, we will move on to public comment.
Members of the public, if you would like to make a public comment, please bring a speaker slip to the clerk during this time. For those of you joining the meeting online, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. And we do have a speaker slip submitted. So when I call you your name, you can come up to the podium and you'll be given 2 minutes to speak. I'd like to call Becca to the podium.
Karen, it's on. I just wanted to say thank you for all you've done for the county, for the kids, for this commission. We will stay connected. Congratulations, much happiness in your, and much success in your new opportunity. And I also want to say a big congratulations to Chair Rasmussen for your recognition last Tuesday at the Board of Supervisors. Fabulous presentation and a well-deserved recognition.
Thank you.
Last call for public comment, in person or online. No public comment. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us up to our updates from our system partners. And Ron Reyes, thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, thank you. All right, before I start, I just want to disclose that we had some technical issues today. I don't have all the numbers for you, but I did my best to kind of get you as much as I could. So as far as case assignments, we had total of 16 cases. 8 of those were detentions. 2 of the 8 detention contain allegation of 707B offenses. Again, 707B offenses are considered serious felony offenses such as robbery, 245A1 assault with a force likely to create bodily injury, and things of that nature, offenses of that nature. We also had 5 out of custody arraignments, and on all the 5, one of those cases contained allegation for a 707B offense. We also had 3 sittings in the past 4 weeks, and on our Miranda hotline, we had 15 calls from police agencies, and then the breakdown of those 15 calls, 6 were 16 and 17-year-old, and we had 15 and under 2 calls. Minor youth that were 14 and under, we had 2 calls, and I actually have 5 calls where I have not been able to track. My assistant is out of office this week, so I'll provide that information at a later date. But that's kind of the breakdown of those calls. And then in all 15 calls, no statements were given to the police.
Thank you so much. And thank you for putting that together, especially without your assistant.
Yeah,
And
no
yes.
problem. It's not perfect, but I thought.
No, but we appreciate it.
Yeah.
It gives everyone a glimpse of kind of what's happening right
Yeah.
now. So that's
It,
wonderful.
it is, as you can tell, it's significantly slower than, which is a good thing, than it has been in quite a few months. So that's a good thing.
That's a blessing.
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Ron Reyes?
How you doing, Ron? Thank you for the work you're doing. Happy holidays. My question is, on these 15 youth that you had call, are these actual arrests or detainments or stops?
Well, it is arrest. It's definitely detained and
Detained.
almost always also arrest, but not necessarily translate into detention at YSC. So they could be arrested,
Okay.
detained and arrested, but they could also what we call sign and release. So it could be an offense where they just get cited and then were released to their guardian or parent or whatever the situation might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you receive these calls, when the hotline receives these calls and they're going to make an arrest, at what point does the private defender begin the assignment of counsel to that kid?
So, once, let me paraphrase it just to
Sure.
make sure I'm
Yeah.
understanding that question. So we have an attorney on call. So there's an attorney that handles that call to, address the Miranda issue. So once that happened, assuming that, for example, let's take a scenario, we do have a youth who was going to be booked at YSC, and we got notification that we have a youth going to be at YSC. The first thing we do, actually, we send our advocate in to meet with the youth and start working on their social history, release plan, collect school information, and gather all that information before the detention hearing. And then once we have kind of an idea of what we're dealing with as far as the case, and then we start working on making the assignment And then from there, we'll usually, have somebody assigned before the court hearing, which typically is 48 hours before, the filing. And then there's the notice time for the petition.
Right. Awesome. Thank you for that. And I have another question. Is there ever been an opportunity or a time where maybe a youth has made statements before they've been informed of their rights or of counsel being available to them? And how is that normally treated? Would the officer then report right there to the attorney on call, hey, this youth has made statements prior to Mirandizing him, he's incriminated himself. How does that work?
So, yes, that has happened where, the law does not get triggered until they're detained, they're going to be interrogation. So there's always a chance of youth giving spontaneous statements, which they don't have, their Miranda rights were not read. There's also the school circumstances where even by question by school administrator, that those rights do not attach at that point. So there's law scenarios where that could happen. But, typically in our county, I would say it's usually an exception. It's really rare that an officer actually tries to avoid the responsibility attached to SB 203. We pretty much there, most of the time they're in compliance.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Sure.
Thank you. And thank you for explaining the whole process. It sounds like from the moment they come in contact with law enforcement, your office is all over it with the advocate assigning, from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of our, one of the models we strive for is our holistic approach to this idea. I mean, from the minute we are aware that they're going to be in with us, we try to be actively working on it, from contacting. I mean, I always put myself in the shoe of parent of who had their child just been detained, especially if it's the first time. You're terrified. So you need to know somebody explaining what is happening, what to expect, what to anticipate. We're not going to have all the answer because there's a lot of things unknown at that point, but at least you would know there's somebody going to be looking after and caring for your child. And so this is kind of where we feel this is this critical service that we provide. And then, this is kind of the standard we set for our program. And then we also do it like one of the things we're able to do in our program too, for out of custody youth, we get our information early enough where we can make the assignment well before the court date. And then our attorneys are expected to reach out to the youth and their family and then connect with them. So when they come to court, they already know who the assigned attorney is, and then they have made that contact. And so this is also one of the things we strive to do.
Thank you for setting that standard.
Sure.
Okay.
I just had one quick question too that just
Yeah.
occurred to me. When the youth are detained and they're making their call, are they ever brought to a police station? Does that happen that the youth are actually brought to the police station?
Sometimes they
Could be.
are brought to the police
Yeah.
station. Like, for example, oftentimes our consultation happens when the youth is already at the police station.
Thank you.
I have a question, even though I'm right next to him. Thank you so much for putting yourself in the parent's shoes, because I think sometimes that perspective is not included. So thank you, Ron. So my question is, you mentioned police agencies. How many and which cities were those? Do you happen to know, or you
How
don't?
many?
How many? You said police agencies. I don't know
Yeah.
if you happen to know, or if you even record which cities those are. Happen to know? If not,
No, I believe
share
there's
later.
either 23 or 24 cities in the county San Mateo. Plus, we also cover SFO. So we also handle calls from the San Francisco PD, the airport bureau.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
Also-
Bart in our county is part of the sheriff. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then there's and there's also the sheriff
Okay.
as well.
So you're saying you received calls from all 23?
All,
No?
all police agencies.
Oh, you
in-
do? Okay.
All
I
all
was just
police
wondering.
agencies in the county.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if
Right.
there are cities that may call more than others. So that's what I was trying to get at. But thank you. That was my question and my statement.
Okay, any other additional questions for Ron? Thank you so much, Ron.
Welcome.
Okay, next up, Nadia Han, our district attorney. Welcome, Nadia. Thank you
Hello,
for being here.
everyone. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good night. So my numbers for this last period from November 19th through today are a total of 12 cases that were filed. 5 felony, 6 misdemeanor, 1 infraction, and 13 were reviewed and rejected for charging. So a slow month.
Very much so. That's good news. Thank you so much. Any questions for our district attorney, Nadia Han? No? All right, thank you so much, Nadia. Appreciate you. Okay, next up is Sarah Notch with County Office of Education. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. I have to start out with adding my name to the long list of card-carrying members of the Vice Chair Huber Levy fan club. I have so enjoyed working with you, your thoughtful questions, your insights, your dedication. You've been a wonderful partner. I appreciate everything that you and the team have included in your educational inspections, and we'll really miss interfacing with you at this level. And I'm gathering from the other comments that there's more exciting things for you to come. And so I hope that our paths cross in that context as well. But congratulations and thank you so much for your service and dedication to the commission.
Thank you very much for those kind words, Sarah. And it's mutual. I've really
Oh.
enjoyed working with you and your colleagues at the County Office of Education and the new leadership in place at Juvenile Hall.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. I will start by sharing our numbers. So right now we have 20 minors at Hillcrest that we're serving, 1 8th grader, 6 10th graders, 8 11th graders, and 5 12th graders. And right now, almost all of them, with one exception, are in our Career Technical Education Masterclass. It's our Exploring STEM Careers Masterclass. It's 3 weeks long, and this is the course where they receive enough instructional minutes to earn 6 credits, actually. I've been saying 5, but it's 6, which is great given the average length of stay for our youth. And want to give a particular appreciation for Superintendent Bustos and the probation team, because for the first time, what we've been able to do for this particular masterclass is invite non-minors to be mentors to the youth that we're serving at Hillcrest. So we have, I believe it's 6 graduates, non-minors, who have taken the course before and are serving as mentors to the high school youth. And that's been really exciting. And in addition, on this Friday, sorry, I had to do a quick calculation in my head. It feels like the holidays are upon us quickly. This Friday, we're having a CTE Work Expo. And so I believe that ISM Ramirez is the one who is helping to coordinate all of the RSVPs, but we're inviting the youth's family in to see student presentations and for them to present to their families what they have learned and experienced in this course. And so it'll be a wonderful celebration. And then finally, on the CTE front, I want to share that we were just awarded a round 8 career technical education grant. So it's allowing us to continue expanding our work. And so we're just very excited about that. And I don't know that I have anything else in particular to report. Wanted to share all of that exciting news with you and happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah? Yes, Commissioner Blanco.
Hello, Miss Sarah. Good evening.
Hi.
Happy
Good evening.
holidays.
You too.
I have 2 questions. If you have the answer for the second one. The first one is how many of the students, the 20 students that you mentioned that were serving have IEPs? And the second one is with the grants. You said, is it one grant or two grants? And if you can give us a total of the grants, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, I am so sorry. I should have come prepared with that. So I can follow up in an email with the IEP information. So I will do that as soon as possible. Right now, we have several CTE grants. So we have one called the Golden State Pathways Partnership. We always use acronyms and then forget what they stand for, but it's GSPP. That's finishing at the end of this year. We have a round 7 grant that's in progress, and then we'll be awarded the round 8 grant, or we were just awarded, and it's in partnership with South San Francisco Unified School District. So I can get more detailed information to you as well about the kind of grant activities and award amounts for each of those, but it's been um, very, very exciting. And I have to give credit to our Associate Superintendent, Chris Schaus, because she is just phenomenal at going after opportunities and making things happen. And so we're really excited about the years to come. But I will follow up with more specifics. Apologies, I don't have them tonight.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Any other questions for Sarah Notch? Okay. I didn't skip over, I know probation was before County Office of Ed. I didn't skip over, we didn't have our Superintendent Bustos and we did not have Becky Powers here this evening, but they did provide a report that I was going to go over after our system partners went through. But I did want to give the chief an opportunity to speak if he had anything he wanted to share with us, because I noticed he was here and I think he's even on vacation. So thank you so much for being here, Chief.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I did want to just bring to your attention, there was a question earlier with regard to the different cities that we have our young people who have interaction with law enforcement from rather. And as Mr. Reyes said, there are 24 different cities within the county that we do have interactions with. In the data that we share with you, we do list those individual cities and then the particular interactions that we've had with those departments. One thing I will note that there are some cities, whether it be a city like Brisbane, that really hasn't had any referrals or any interactions that we've documented over the last, let's say, 4 to 5 months, or you have some that have very few, like Montero. So there, it just kind of runs the gamut. So you'll have some cities where there are no interaction. And then we actually have what we consider to be a 25th category, which would be those out of county interactions that we have. So you have that list in front of you that just kind of gives you a snapshot of some of that information. I will share just in present time, there are 31 youth in the hall as of today. 29 of those are males. We have one girl, and then we have one non-binary youth in our space. The main thing I wanted to just pass along today was um, for anyone who had opportunity to come to the JJCC meeting or have an opportunity to see it online, we did make a presentation with regard to the new RFP processes that will be taking place going into the new year. It's really important to note that there is a much more, I would say, detailed and long-winded process moving forward now for pretty much everything that we will be participating in, any types of service delivery, even the resources that we will use in our regular interactions within the facility. And so they are going to go through this new RFP process. The thresholds have been reduced to smaller amounts now that require RFPs, whereas before they used to be for very large amounts and for larger contracts. The board has asked us to bring that down to a smaller amount, and that's actually for the entire county, not just probation. And so it is going to, in essence, create a much more of a detailed process for pretty much everything that we do in that space moving forward. And so we talked a little bit about it at the JJCC. I wanted to just kind of make you guys generally aware of it here because it will have an impact on how services are searched for, how those services will be brought online, and then potentially the time that it will take to do certain things. But once again, that's not a probation move or a probation decision. That is a broader county decision that is, along with every other department, we're going to be required to participate in. So we obviously have our RFPs out for a variety of different things in the juvenile space now. So we'll go through those processes. They'll be done obviously in a very public manner. And as always, I always try to extend and beg and cajole people to apply for our RFPs for the various services that we have. As a reminder, the local action plan that we create serves as the feeder for the different services that we go after as a general principle. And that data uses that data that we collect is kind of what we determine our primary categories of needs are. Obviously, as additional things are raised in the juvenile hall space, we will certainly add those things to the mix, and depending upon what's funding stream that they most fit in, that will be how those things were funded. So just wanted to make you guys aware that that is going to be a significant change moving into the new year. And then lastly, certainly I want to join the parade of people certainly expressing their appreciation for Ms. Huber Levy. I want to say thank you personally for your collaboration, your positive energy and positive spirit that you've brought to all of our interactions. And on behalf of the Information Department, we really appreciate everything you've done to make this conversation and make this process be a collaborative one. So wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, Chief Keen. I really appreciate it. And I have enjoyed working together collaboratively with probation, and I hope to be able to continue to do so from a community standpoint. And I'm thinking of the potential for the community garden at Juvenile Hall, which I've had some great discussions with Superintendent Bustos about.
Yeah, I would tell you for someone who's watched that mound of dirt for the last 13 years sit there and get bigger, get smaller, and various things kind of come and go. I'd be very happy when we have a dedicated focus for how it will be utilized because the original vision from way back when was an incredibly creative one. And it's my hope that the county as a whole, we find a way to get there. So I certainly hope to see you be a positive part of that as well.
Thank you so much, Chief. Does anyone have any questions for the chief? Commissioner Blanco.
Good evening, Chief Keen. Happy holidays to you too.
Yes, ma'am. Happy holidays.
So the question I had was regarding the new process of the RFPs. You said it was going to be the amount that that will be granted has decreased. And I was just curious to know what was the maximum amount and by how much is that amount going to be decreased by? Thank you.
Well, so what it is, so let me be clear. So let's say the threshold initially for what we had to do a full-blown RFP, take it to the board, things like that, used to be like a $200,000 mark. Then it was reduced to 100,000, but there are various areas now that for any service, it could be as little as $10,000. Those services will require some elements of an RFP. So that way we can, demonstrate that it was done in a transparent manner. It was done in a way where multiple people had opportunities to bid on it in a fair process, and that it was done in a way that also recognizes smaller businesses where we can. And so that process is not necessarily that the money amount is reducing itself in terms of what we deliver. It's just the threshold for what now requires this very long, extensive process of putting out a bid, making it public for a period of time, putting out parameters for what the people who apply for the projects have to then do themselves. There's a screening process now for each one of those things. It's going to be a broader, much more detailed space. So I'll give you a really good practical example. So going into the next year, I have a general idea how much supplies I will use for various aspects of the juvenile hall processes and its functioning. Typically, I would order those things kind of as we go and just kind of fulfill and backfill things as I need them. What's expected now is that I be a little bit more predictive and think about that. And so I'm actually going to be looking to procure services a year in advance. So for example, whatever my hygiene products are, for example, if there's things I need that are just daily use things that maybe in the past I would have just purchased more on a like I said, as need basis. There'll still be an opportunity for me to do things where maybe I can do like an Amazon order or something like that because it fits into the county specs for that. But as I've kind of made the mention before that I can't just run down to Home Depot or something like that and purchase things. I don't have a county credit card, for example. There's a process for how we purchase the smallest things to the biggest things. It used to be the smaller things was a little bit easier to do. But now with this newer process, it's going to make it a little bit more time consuming, but also I think what the county's trying to achieve for all of us is to make it more transparent across the board.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. I know about
Thank
a
you.
year ago, Mr. Niblin and Mr. Callaghy came to a meeting and they talked about wanting to make the RFP process more accessible to folks. Is that conversation still happening? Are you aware of it? You may not be aware of it, but have you heard with all these new rollouts if that's still something that they're talking about?
I'm very much aware of what has happened. I think that a lot of what's been done with this new process is to, in fact, try to support that. I think it will have that effect in many areas, but I also think in some areas it will make it a little bit more challenging, let's say that, to get certain things done that may have gone a little bit faster in the past. But once again, it's for the purpose of making sure that, we're transparent with the use of county dollars and that folks feel like, people are getting a fair shot at procurement opportunities. So I think there will be some degree of difficulty, let's say, in procuring some needs, some goods that would have been easier in the past. But I think the reason why we're doing it is a valid one.
Thank you so much for explaining that and for giving the examples, and we certainly appreciate that. So since you mentioned some of the stats, I'll just go ahead and share some of what was shared with me, just for the sake of, in case anyone has any questions. So what the sheet I'm reading off of is the sheet that the Superintendent Bustos provided to me today, and the numbers that she gave for juvenile services, which would be youth on probation out in the community, active cases. There were 337, of which 21 were diversion, 98 were, it says court, and 218 supervision. There was 7 deputy probation officers, and of the 337 active cases, 15 were Asian, 37 were Black, 222 were Hispanic, 19 were Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, 29 were white, and 15 were all other or unknown. Active cases by gender, of the 337, 78 were female, 258 were male, 1 was non-binary. Active cases by region, and this is what Commissioner Blanco was asking about. North County, which includes Brisbane, Daly City, San Bruno, South San Francisco, and Colma, had 76. Mid County, which is Belmont, Burlingame, Foster City, Hillsborough, Millbrae, San Mateo, 86. South County, East Palo Alto, Menlo Park, Portola Valley, Redwood City, San Carlos, and Woodside, 110. 26 out on the coast, and 39 out of county. For institutions, we had 21 bookings and 23 releases. The one-day snapshot for today was we had 20 in the juvenile hall predisposition, 9 post, 8 in SYTF. The average length of stay at the juvenile hall was 21 days, and the average length of electronic monitoring was 32 days. As of today, we have 13 youth on EMP. 9 youth were referred to EMP, 5 received CAM referrals, and 3 successfully completed EMP. So all of this information will be included in the meeting minutes, and I appreciate that even though the superintendent couldn't be here, she provided this information. And thank you, Chief, for being here. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And then the last thing really quickly I'll say is, as I know Ron is aware, certainly one of the more interesting things going into the new year, obviously, will be the application of the new law with regard to the 12-month probationary period. for young people. And so we'll be obviously continuing to study and monitoring case law to see how that's going to be applied. There'll be a 12-month maximum on most probationary cases. The primary question of law at this point will be whether this will go back and be retroactive, or would it be moving forward from the start point of legislation. I believe that's AB 1357, Ron, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
And
thank you, Chief. That's
thank you all for your time.
1367.
Hmm,
It's 1367.
67. Thank you.
Yes, and I think it's going to be interesting conversation we'll be having in the next few.
I'm sorry, Ron, I didn't hear you.
It will be interesting conversation we'll be having in the next few weeks, how this is going to roll out. And
Yeah, I agree.
luckily for our county chief, I think for the most part, most of our youth that actually get off probation sooner than the 12 months. So that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
wonderful.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
So thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, all right. Do we have any public comment? Or maybe we'll just take it at the end. Okay, so for behavioral health and recovery services, tonight, I'd like to welcome Martha Cervantes. Welcome, Martha. You have a report for us this evening?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Yes, thank you. I am the new unit supervisor for BHRS. Today, we just want to report that we are hiring at the BHRS team. We currently have put out an offer for an AOD case manager, and we are also currently in the process of putting out offers in the next week for 2 new clinicians to join our team, which will put us closer to a full team. But that is all I have as of today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Martha from BHRS? Commissioner Blanco.
Hello, Martha. Good evening. Happy holidays.
Hello.
So my questions are we are aware that the youth in the facility are receiving 20 minutes every other week of therapy. Is that correct?
20 minutes? No,
Every other
so
week.
every other week. No, currently we have a caseload of 21 youth who are receiving weekly or biweekly therapy for approximately 45 minutes to an hour. And then we also are available to all of our youth for what we call our OD line, our on-duty line. And that can be anywhere from a quick check-in, and it's all dependent on the youth, to about a 45-minute to an hour session as well.
Oh, okay. Because we were under the understanding that the youth they were receiving 20 minutes every other week for therapy. And so my question was going to be, now that we have some new folks coming in that you all are hiring, my question was going to be, by how much will that time be increased to service them every week?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I am, of course, yeah.
I just, for a point of clarification, the youth were reporting that due to the one clinician that was available at the facility, that they were getting therapy for about 20 minutes every other week. So that was reported by the youth. That's where that information comes from, just so you're aware. I know that family therapy's been on hold, and I know staffing's been an issue. So there may be things that are changing with 21 youth an hour and casework. It would be hard to get them done in a 40-hour work week. But I appreciate that we are hiring, and I am looking forward to ensuring that all of our kids get the therapeutic services that they need. Thank you so much. Any other
Of
questions
course.
for BHRS?
I just have a request for Martha.
Okay.
Yes.
Martha, so we're planning in conjunction partnership with the College of San Mateo and Project Change next month, and we've reached out to about 30 community partners, and BHRS is one of them. And I reached out to 2 of the staff members, one being Xiomara Ochoa. And so I was just wondering if I may be able to speak with you to see if we can partner with BHRS and have you come and be part of it. So I'm wondering if you
Yes.
might be able to get a hold of me, or I can get a hold of you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we can
Okay,
definitely
thank you so
touch
much.
base. Yes,
Thank you so much for being here, Martha. We appreciate you.
thank you.
Okay, next up is Fresh Lifelines for Youth, and I see I've got one online and one here in person. Good. Welcome. Come on up. Yes, thank you, thank you.
So sorry, I am late. I am Adriana. I am one of the case managers in the reentry program with Fly. Thank you so much for having me. All of these meetings I met on Zoom, so this is kind of cool. I did want to bring up a couple of things that we have had happen in the last quarter, some cool stuff. In October, we started something called Reentry LRE, Law-Related Education. So it's a 13-week course of different laws that we go over with our youth, Miranda rights, property damage. Sometimes we do go over SEL skills. In October, we went over substance abuse. We definitely prepared our youth for what the holidays could possibly bring with individual families. So that's been going really well. We started that in October. Our youth really love it. Sometimes we'll have it at our office. This past couple of weekends, we had it at a Korean barbecue. So it was great because it supplied food, and then we also had independent living skills. We asked them to cook. Some of our youth did well, some of them did not. We had to stop a lot of raw cooking. We had to stop a lot of, we taught them cross-contamination. What happens when you put raw food on, vegetable plates. Teaching them how to cook at a great degree. Some of our youth really like their meat raw. So it was a combination of independent living skills, social and emotional learning skills, as well as law-related education. So they love these events. We try to do it every Wednesday from 4 to 7 at our office in SMC. So that is very big with reentry right now, our law-related education. The difference with our reentry youth is our reentry youth have lived the curriculum that we're teaching. We go out into our high schools, we teach preventative education. Some of them understand some of the curriculum that we're teaching, but our reentry lived it. So they definitely, the conversations are pretty intense. So that happened in October. It's going very well, and we're hoping that a lot more youth have that motivation to learn the law. Because sometimes it can get a little difficult. I don't want to learn that. In November, we were invited to a 49er event. The 49er Foundation really loves Fly, and we love 49ers. It's the best team in the world. And so for that event alone, we did invite reentry youth, Stay Fly youth, and some of our other program youth, and they all got along. It was a wonderful event. The 49ers spoke. They did drills. They even, I want to say, gave them jerseys. So an amazing event that happened in November. The kids are still talking about it. It's all online. And it really gave them the opportunity to have something huge in their life that they're able to talk about. And they were really shocked that, I'm not even a Niners fan, but they were kind of cool. So it was really cool for them to kind of broaden their horizons to other stuff out there. What's happening right now in December, we're asking for mercy. We are actually in the process of hiring another case manager. So our waiting list right now is pretty big, but our caseload is at 23. And so we're doing that transition in January. So we promise we're on it, we're hiring, we're interviewing people. Once that transition happens in January, we're going to start something called TSRs, time sensitive reports. And we would like to start that with probation officers. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in December, just to kind of give them a heads up. And so what it is a little report from the time of the 1st to the 15th and the 16th to the end of the month. So it's kind of be a little bit of an update on each youth in the reentry program to the probation officers so that they constantly stay in the loop. We're noticing with the more youth that we have on the waiting list, and as we're trying to hire case managers, we're trying to be as organized as possible with our communication and our updates. So we will be starting those in January, called TSRs. Okay, and then I think that's it. It's a lot for 3 months, and so that's our update right now for the reentry program.
Well, that's wonderful.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
you
You're
for
doing a lot of great work. Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Blanco.
I was hoping.
Thank you so much. I thought I recognized you when you walked in. I'm like, hey, she's usually up there.
Yeah.
It's, we're happy that you're here in person. My question is about your, is it 13-week, the reentry one?
Law-related education, yeah.
So, do you happen to have like a graduation ceremony or like a small little, hey, congratulations on?
So in our
re-
high schools and our
completion?
continuation schools, yes, absolutely. We just did it in juvenile hall. It was a success, but we're told what we can and can't bring in. We
Mhm.
were allowed pizza, so it was
Mhm.
awesome. And usually the ceremony, it's kind of small, but we do try to give them an understanding of what they just learned is tough. Even our adults, when we train our volunteers, don't always pick it up. So we give them a little certificate that shows that they completed the 13-week course, but we also, at the end of our party, we kind of do a closing. What did you get from this? What did you learn? What did you see that you didn't see before? Miranda rights is usually on there. You know, a lot of youth are just like, I didn't know that, everything could be dropped with that. So we try as hard as we can to get them to understand even their own charges. Because they come in kind of like, I don't know why I was ever locked up. And so our 13-week course will, even with uncomfortable situations like unlawful sex, we definitely bring that to the table and we teach this is what could possibly happen. So prevention and then also aftercare.
Well, I'm just hoping to see if it's possible, if the commission can get invited to one of your ceremonies, if it's allowed.
Absolutely.
Right. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Tati Castaneda with Fly, welcome.
So my updates for REPS, which is our in-custody case management program, we currently have all 8 SOAR youth in program, and then we have 2 non-SOARs also in program. They have been doing monthly restorative justice workshops. So this is our 3rd month of doing that. And those workshops are facilitated by our Peer Point program. So they come into the hall and then they present that workshop to the youth. And then last week we brought in the Success Stories program for a workshop where the youth were tasked with finding out what's more important to them. One of the facilitators for that workshop has actually been working with one of our Secure Track youth for about 1.5 years, one-on-one. So that Secure Track youth helped facilitate the workshop to the rest of the group. He enjoyed that because he was able, he said, to practice his public speaking and facilitation skills. And we're aiming to bring success stories in once a month or once every other month, but they do come all the way up here from SoCal. So we are grateful that they did come, and we're hoping that that can continue. Most of the youth are currently working on their finals. We do have 4, as Sarah mentioned earlier, 4 who are interning for CTE. So they are clocking in and clocking out for their time in the program, and they've been enjoying that. November case management hours totaled 67.95 hours. And then for the final quarter, so October through today, case management 240.85 hours.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the work you do. Does anyone have any questions for Tati Castaneda? So thank you. You've done an amazing job on that unit. And I am just always just blown away. And you continue to bring in new programming. You continue to challenge the youth to go deeper and deeper. And I just really appreciate all that you do for our kids. Thank you.
We do actually also have Carlos on here as a panelist. He's our case manager from our Stay Fly program. So it's similar to reentry, but that age group is 18 to 25. So he can also share some updates.
Great. Welcome, Carlos. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? All right. All right. So I'm the Stay Fly case manager. I work with 18 to 25-year-olds. I currently have 11 youth on my caseload. 10 of them are boys, 1 of them is a girl. Our wait list, we have about 7 on the wait list. We usually cap the caseload at 12 to 15, depending on what the youth need, high risk, low risk. Very SEL focused, so it's a lot of one-on-one check-ins. We do events for them also. We do the law training, and just kind of pushing them to the right direction. It can be professional goals, educational goals, legal goals, and then sometimes their hobbies. But some highlights for some of the youth on my caseload right now. 3 of the 18-year-olds are about to graduate from high school, and we're thinking of transitioning them to college, or they're thinking of taking that path. 2 of my 22 and 23-year-old youth are transitioning out of case management, and they're potentially looking into going into social work. So kind of um, giving back to the community and doing the work that kind of Fly's been doing for them, but also other programs. And a lot of this work, it looks uh, like for the first 3 months of case management is 9 months. So the first 3 months, I check in with them for 4 hours. The second half of it, I check in with them for 3 hours, and then the last bit of case management is 2 hours. And we just want them to kind of gain those independentness and move on and just look forward to their future. Um, but yeah, if anyone has questions too, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Carlos Castaneda? Yes, Commissioner Lee.
All right, thank you for the work you're doing and going into a little bit more detail of how you work with them. I was just wondering what would be the main issue that the youth are dealing with that you're working with right now?
So a main focus right now, or main thing that I see around my whole caseload is housing. Housing is always a big problem with them. Um, and a lot of times that housing or where they're staying at stops them from doing a lot of these other goals. From even going to work or going to school because they have a lot of issues related to housing. But obviously there's a lot of resources out there, Samaritan House, um, Larkin Street in San Francisco. So we try to find whatever works for them.
Thank you. All right. So now, yes.
Oh, I forgot I had a question.
Okay.
Hi, Carlos. I was just wondering, so you said that you check in with your youth. I was just wondering the frequency is it every week that you meet with them during the 9 months that they're under your case management?
So my youth are 18 to 25, so it's a lot different from working with the younger kids. Like I said, they do have work. They have adult lives. So I try to meet them in the middle. I check in with them as much as I can. Some of them we have set dates each week. We're like we'll meet on Monday at 4. That's our set date. But some other youth are like, oh, I'm doing this or I have work, so I kind of have to work around their schedule. But wherever I can meet them, I try to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I do not see John Fong on the call, so we'll call for public comment for the public on all the items from our system partners. Thank you.
If you would like to comment on any updates from A to G on item 3, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip to the clerk during this time for public comment. Do we have any public comment online? No? We do have a speaker slip submitted. I believe Becca has a comment, so for this one? Yeah. Thank you. And Becca, you can just go to the podium and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak.
I just actually have a quick question, probably primarily to probation, might also be to Ron. I'm just wondering, when we're breaking out where these kids that we're dealing with are coming from, do they ever break it out for the unincorporated areas? And I'm thinking primarily of North Fair Oaks. Is it ever broken out into those areas so we know how many of the kids are out of those areas? Oh, you can't. Okay, never mind. Okay, thank you. I'd be curious if that could be addressed at some point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll look into that and find out how that's classified. Sometimes it's done by zip code, sometimes it's done by unincorporated, but we'll find that answer out. Okay. Did we have anyone on Zoom?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who provided updates. So we'll move on now to our 2025 annual inspection report presentations. And first up will be our educational evaluation for Hillcrest Juvenile Hall, which would actually be Hillcrest School, as well as SYTF. Yes. So Vice Chair Huber Levy will be leading this presentation.
Okay. So this year we had 4 commissioners attend at Juvenile Hall at the Hillcrest School in September. And we had the opportunity to sit in classes, to meet with the new leadership team, to meet with students, and we basically spent the whole day there. Some of the just overview points of Hillcrest School, which these things have not really changed over the past few years. It's located at the Youth Services Center up on 400 Paul Scannell Drive. And the program at Hillcrest School, operated by the County Office of Education, serving the youth who are in detention under the San Mateo County Juvenile Court. The school is fully accredited. It is accredited across the board. It can provide educational services K to 12. This year, there were all high school students when we visited. I understand now there's an 8th grader, but when we visited, all the students were high school level. The youth, under the law in California, youth are guaranteed access to free, appropriate public education equal to all California students. And this high school at Hillcrest serves youth under 18 at the Hillcrest School, and also serves any youth who are over 18 who are still working towards their high school diploma or equivalent. Currently, there are 2 classes at Hillcrest. There's a Forestry class and a CARES class. And as I mentioned, when we visited, they were all high school students. There were 20 youth in residence and attending Hillcrest School. The average length of stay was 30 days, but some of the children or the youth that we spoke to were there for, we're going to be there for many months. There were 5 youth over 18 not in the SOAR program who also have access to education from the County Office of Education. I guess one observation that we had was that the Hillcrest School serves 2 very distinct student populations. And the different populations that are there, different tenure lengths, have different educational needs. There are short-term detainees. I mentioned the average length of stay is about 30 days. And there are longer-term residents who are there for 3 to 6 months, or some are there for years. The focus for short-term detainees tends to be on maintaining course continuity and immediate credit recovery. The challenges are that there's a limited time for relationship building and a need for quick academic assessment and transitions back to the homeschool districts. I actually just realized too that I'm in the wrong version of my presentation, and I have a more up-to-date version that I want to shift into, so I apologize. I mean, this is not inaccurate, it's just not as crisp. So I'm going to stop the share. No. Okay, here we go. That's better. Okay, so we did cover this, and I realized I've reorganized this a little bit to make it more user friendly. Oh, hold on. Let me do slideshow. Where's the slideshow? Sorry about this. Set up slideshow. Play from current slide. Play from start. Okay, there. Here we go. Sorry. Zoom, share. Got it. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So yes, this version is a little crisper. Okay. All right. So we've covered this, and this is what I wanted to get into, the overview, the changes from last year, educational leadership and program improvements. First off, there's a new leadership team at Hillcrest School. There's a new principal and a new assistant principal, Principal Freedom Siam and Assistant Principal Jason Arenas. And we were given the privilege of spending quite a bit of time together that day. Principal Siam was very generous with his time and really shared with us his vision for the school performance being very transformative, trauma-informed, emotionally supportive as a learning environment. He also spoke a lot about needing to have a flexible structure in the school to adapt to individual student needs and frequently changing student populations. So a fluxure is how he termed it. And the Hillcrest School was faced with some challenges right from the beginning. So new principal, new assistant principal, opportunities for stability, but unfortunately some long-term staff resigned right before the new school year started. So they were immediately faced with the challenge of hiring 3 full-time teaching positions to fill those vacancies and another vacancy. They were working full-time on that when we met in September. And I believe from looking at the website, and Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked to me as if there was a new credentialed teacher that had already been hired. They had told us that that a new credentialed substitute teacher was starting the day after we visited, but there is a teacher on the website, Maria Moran, and also a data specialist has been hired. And one of their goals was to improve academic tracking and planning for all the student populations. I also wanted to mention that as a community oversight, and if you read our report, there's quite a bit of an overview about the intention of our academic program review and how we're not meant to duplicate the regulatory compliance review that's done by the County Office of Education partner. And last year and this year, that was conducted by the Santa Cruz County Office of Education under the guidance of OYCR, the Office for Youth and Community Restoration Guidelines. And they did not note any deficiencies or non-compliance issues versus the Education Code and Title 15. They also made a note that there were continuous improvement noted in the Hillcrest student support and programming. So just a comment that our observations were really meant to understand the student experience, to be very much the proxy for parents and families of students who can't get behind closed doors and see their child's experience. So we're there as the eyes and ears of the community. We're not necessarily education specialists, although we have people with educational backgrounds on our commission, but we're really there to keep our eyes open and to provide recommendations based on our views. And that does not necessarily mean that the County Office of Education isn't doing the best they can to fill those gaps as well, but it is our job to kind of elevate and point out where we see that there could be some room for improvement. So just a snapshot of student demographics, the current enrollment, as I mentioned, when we visited, there were 20 students under age 18. Of those 20 students, 18 students have IEPs, individual education plans. So 89% of the student body then has specialized education services, and one student had the 504 plan.
I just wanted to add, the one that had nothing asked how he could get one. So I just wanted to note that.
And you'll see that there's a little comment here, the grade distribution and the length of stay distribution. This refers to the students who participated in a survey that Chair Rasmussen created this year as an additional innovation for how we can interact with the student population. I think was very valuable, gave them each a set of questions that they could provide input, prompts to provide input on. And so this is just kind of a breakdown of the students that participated in that, and you'll hear more about those survey results. So as I started talking to you about before I realized I was in the wrong version, that there are two different populations within Hillcrest School. They're the short-term detainees who are cycling in and out in around 30 days. And for them, the real focus is maintaining academic status, keeping up with the coursework. There's a limited time for relationship building. There's a need for a quick academic assessment, and they're transitioning back to home schools. So the education priority is to make sure any partial credits they earn are honored by their home districts, provide the credit documentation, and maintain academic momentum for them despite their short stay. Longer term residents are a different story. Those are students who sometimes have quite severe foundational education gaps in reading and math skills, and there tends to be an over-reliance from our perspective on packet-based and online programs for credit recovery for these students. There's opportunities for this student population to build stronger relationships. They're there for a longer time with teachers, and there's thus the opportunity for more structured teacher-led instruction and an opportunity to pursue some higher level coursework with the goal of completing their high school diploma. So the education priority for them is advanced academic pathways, trauma-informed support, credit completion, and preparation for reintegration into their communities or post-secondary options. So here's where we get into a few of the key survey findings. So we thought that it revealed some important insights about learning from the experience of the students. 50% of the students reported they did not learn anything new in class. That is a personal comment, but it does indicate a need for more engaging instruction. 61% reports teachers sometimes or not often explain the concepts clearly. So perhaps there's an opportunity there as well for some consistency in making sure that the teaching methodology is reaching the students. 64% are behind on their high school credits, so that we see an urgent need for accelerated credit recovery programs, and 100% reported no access to computers or technology in the classroom, which is a critical infrastructure gap if you compare them to what the average California student is experiencing in their high school classroom. And we understand too, and I made this comment in the report, that there is the challenge. We appreciate that there is the challenge of serving these students in a detention setting, and that creates some barriers and issues that the County Office of Education obviously knows about and are working to deal with. So we're highlighting what we see, but we understand that there are challenges to do this. And here's a neat little representation that my program was able to create, which just summarizes kind of what we were talking about, which is the technology access and digital divide, the instructional consistency and quality, the credit recovery and academic acceleration, and the assessment and placement testing. So here are our recommendations. And again, we're not the education experts, but we're observing. And we also had the opportunity to speak to community-based organizations who serve students and provide us with some insights into what we ought to be seeing and ought to be aiming for. So for short-term students, the focus, again, maintaining course continuity and preserving academic status. Our recommendations, which some are similar for both the types of students in the sense that articulating distinct goals and expectations for both short-term and long-term, making sure it's very clear that these are two different sets of needs and thus our goals and expectations should be very different. Ensure that the classroom assignments differentially support those needs in both cases, and ensure that there's a clear explanation of program design for both the short-term and the long-term. For the short-term students, obviously it's a priority to communicate with home schools and have the credit documentation very well dealt with. We also felt that providing data for the community on the number of long-term and short-term students to guide resource allocation and instructional planning is helpful. It's helpful for the educational organizers, but it's also helpful for the community to understand how resources are allocated for sustained instructional support. So in terms of longer-term youth, which again seem to be the youth that have the greatest need, our recommendation is to strengthen instructional supports, increase the amount of direct instruction with teachers. The challenge, again, is the heavy reliance currently on packet-based or computer-based credit recovery systems, which may not be sufficient to really address the students' needs. Direct in-person instruction, small group or individual, to supplement that is our recommendation. And the goal is to ensure that there's substantive academic knowledge for diploma completion. The concern is sometimes the students are getting through the courses, but not really graduating with the substantive knowledge that they need to be successful in life. As I mentioned too, some of the longer term youth have foundational gaps, critical foundational gaps. And I know I spoke to one youth in particular, and that was very clear. And he was very, I would say, checked out in terms of his belief in himself having any opportunity to finish a high school degree. And, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I get that. But there is an opportunity to try to address some of these foundational education gaps through more than just the packet-based work. And so, you know, the action is to try to develop and offer targeted strategies and instructional interventions for those kids. Get them to master the core fundamental capabilities that they need. There we go. No. Okay, I got it. So yes, we want to make sure that students graduate or progress through their education with those core competencies in reading and math. Clarify instructional basics. Again, you know, it's unclear to us how many classes the longer term students are taking and how any individual support is being integrated. So the action there is to gain clarity regarding the number of classes, instructional minutes per day, and how individualized support is integrated into instruction. And the goal is transparency and accountability for instructional quality. We're not saying conclusively that there's, you know, what the issue is. It's not evident to us what these basics are right now. And just from our observation, it wasn't clear that all the opportunities were being realized. Recommendation 3 and 4 is on special education and intake procedures. So the challenge is that students are entering with incomplete records or unaddressed learning needs. And Hillcrest does provide IEP accommodations, but our question is whether they're equipped for a full continuum of services and for moderate to severe disabilities. And my understanding is that moderate to severe IEP accommodations aren't just providing more time for testing or, you know, allowing kids to listen to music while they're doing work. It's actually in the way things are taught that students may need a completely different way of being reached with a curriculum. So I'm not the educational expert there, but I've read enough to know that there are some concerns as to whether Hillcrest can deliver that. And when IEPs cannot be implemented, there might be an issue with compliance for the Disabilities Education Act, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which is the IDEA acronym there. So the recommendations we have there is to ensure all special ed evaluations occur in private, quiet spaces to protect confidentiality, but also allow the students to do their very best. Clarify procedures for addressing unmet IEP requirements and document when services cannot be delivered. Strengthen all of the special ed processes, particularly critical where students might have identified or suspected disabilities. The next recommendation is about intake procedures. And there's are sometimes delays in instruction due to incomplete transcripts, missing IEPs, and partial information. So we are recommending a formalized process or MOU with local districts for the prompt transfer of complete transcripts, IEPs, and prior assessments, not just relying solely on report cards or notes, academic notes, and to develop records intake checklists to identify any gaps or inconsistencies and assign responsibility for follow-up, and to really seek to create a complete academic picture at intake to enable proper placement and avoid any instructional delays. Recommendation 5 is to clarify educational decision-making. And overall, this is, we were given a very good picture of how closely probation and the educators work together in real time every week. They meet on Mondays and Fridays. There is definitely a lot of interaction and a lot of communication, but sometimes it may be unclear who's actually leading and who is consulted for class placement decisions, credit recovery pathways, IEP implementation, and graduation planning. And our recommendation is it should be very clear that these are all decisions that remain with the educational agency, consistent with state law and Title 15. So coordination with probation staff is absolutely critical, but there has to be clear educational decision-making authority. So our recommendation finally is to ensure that there are regular opportunities for families to participate in educational decisions to the extent feasible in the circumstances, to increase transparency, improve communication, and ensure that families are given agency and informed over the educational planning for their children. Instruction time is recommendation 6, to protect instructional minutes as much as possible and protect the continuity of student learning. So in a detention setting, obviously there are situations where students are taken out of class for court, for behavioral health appointments, probation meetings, or sometimes just due to facility operations. The impact is reduced instructional minutes and again, disrupted continuity of learning. And that has a particular impact on students who have disabilities or again, lack those foundational skills. So our recommendations are to preserve the integrity of the school day as much as possible, establish clearer protocols that prioritize instructional time, ensure that there's coordination across units and facility operations, and minimize non-emergency disruptions. So I know that there is already a lot of coordination. We're recommending that continue and be strengthened as much as possible by developing protocols that balance those competing demands and ensure that there's that regular communication to align the scheduling and minimize any preventable interruptions. Now this this recommendation 7 refers to foundational skills assessment and outcome metrics. Principal Siam let us know that they have moved away from MAP testing, and they have a team in place to identify an improved way of conducting this type of metric measurements. And that's consistent with our recommendation, I think, and we will be very interested in following up and hearing about the new measurement platform that will be put in place. And I understand because of all of the staffing issues and new leadership in place, they're targeting, I think it was end of Q1, to have new baseline assessments in place. But again, our recommendations are consistent with that in terms of implementing those foundational skills assessments for all students, focusing on reading level and math skills, and especially understanding longer-term youth need. It's obvious, but that will enable Hillcrest to better support student learning, and the educators know this better than anyone else. That allows them to tailor the instruction to individual student needs and track progress over time. It will also help other organizations understand and utilize this information, and the public will be able to understand this information. And that's been a gap in the past where we have felt that we really don't have a way to measure student success within juvenile hall. And the high value outcome metrics that we would recommend is credit completion, skill level improvement, and how many students are graduating or getting their GED. So this all builds accountability and demonstrates program effectiveness. The last recommendation is about increasing communication and transparency. And we are recommending that Hillcrest educators continue to strengthen the homeschool communication link. Since most Hillcrest students return to their home schools unless they graduate during detention, it's really important that there's a strong communication link with the homeschool districts to align class selection and credit expectations, coordinate re-enrollment, and provide the clear documentation and transfer agreements, and to keep homeschools updated on student progress and the anticipated next steps to build that continuity of education and supports. Again, getting back to improving family communication, communicate regularly with families about their students' academic status, provide updates, share IEP. They do have the IEP meetings, explain next steps, and involve families in academic planning to the extent feasible, which keeps families informed and engaged, reduces surprises at transition, and supports coordinated reentry planning and family support. Just to talk a little bit about the opportunities for youth beyond the classical education program, there is Project Change offers a flagship, very commendable dual enrollment program where students are able to take high school classes and also classes through the College of San Mateo. These classes are online. There are some in-person classes that are being taught by professors at College of San Mateo. They're coming into juvenile hall and teaching as well. And this is the first community college program in California that offers comprehensive wraparound student support once the students are on campus. When the students are attending their in-person classes in juvenile hall, and I think even when they attend, if there's a camera involved, they wear their polo shirts. But I'm not sure about whether the high school students do that. But if the students are attending in-person classes in juvenile hall, they have Project Change polo shirts to wear. Other post-secondary pathways, Project Change and Project Rebound as well. Offer access for the eligible high school graduates, both in and outside of the SOAR program. And there's also online professional certifications that are funded by probation. Talking a little bit, in October, we went back to juvenile hall to meet with the superintendent of probation and also a representative from Project Change and one of the ISMs to review the SOAR program, which is Serious Offenders Achieving Readiness for Reentry. And this is the Secure Youth Treatment Facility, which is when the Department of Juvenile Justice was closed down effective July 1, 2023. All youth who would have been housed in those state facilities were sent home to their counties, and the county probation departments were obliged to offer those youth programming in their own county. So this program at Juvenile Hall at Hillcrest serve youth 18 to 25 who are in the SYTF program, which is SOAR. There's currently 8 youth in the program, and they're all attending post-secondary programs. If any students have not graduated from high school, then the County Office of Education would still serve them and ensure that they can achieve high school graduation. So the County Office of Education's obligation basically stops at high school graduation, but there is a lot of collaboration and cooperation. And as we know with the Title 15 amendments that are revisions that are coming, there is more of an encouragement that the responsibility for youth continues to be shared by both of these stakeholders. So for probation, as we mentioned, we talked a little bit about the project change, post-secondary access, online professional certifications, and counseling for employment readiness and community integration pathways. We know that we have community-based organizations like FLY and Live in Peace who provide support for youth. Just quickly in terms of post-secondary education barriers that we noted and that are ongoing challenges, and one is technology access. So youth who are not at Hillcrest School, who are in Pine 4, do their education programming in the program room. And that program room has computer access, which is limited from 9 a.m. to 12:30, sometimes to 1:30, with no evening or weekend access. There are internet blocks that sometimes create problems for college websites. And in the past, students have had to drop classes to protect their GPAs. I know that there's a lot of attention being placed on ensuring that this technology access is robust and secure, and the students there is a technology use protocol, and that will be that is one of the documents that got left off of our packet, but that will be on our website with this report. And students sign an agreement to abide by the terms of the protocol. So there's an understanding. Right now, probation provides all the laptops and use of desktops for youth who are taking courses. There's a staffing gap in the sense that sometimes there's not enough staff to provide access to the program room. So if there's not staff, the youth can't be in there. Also, the program room is shared by all unit activities. Like when I was there, BHRS was doing some programming with a specific youth. And then there's also the laptops and the desktops there. But if the Zoom calls for youth are being done there too. So it can be a little bit of a busy environment in there. And there's also no limited or no IEP accommodations in that shared space. So it's not optimal for concentrating, I would say. Limitations on access. Some majors also, some youth are bumping into the problem that as they progress in their post-secondary education, they run out of courses that they can take to work towards their major, and they need to go to in-person courses. So there are some limitations by being in detention. And software and camera restrictions prevent online participation for some broader student events, orientation, trainings, club participation. And sometimes disciplinary barriers when there have been breaches of procedure or processes, protocol really is the word I'm looking for youth, that has sometimes resulted in all youth losing their privileges. Career technical education is also available for youth, and some of the current programs which have also been, and in the report, there's more information about the programs that the high school students have been participating in. Sarah briefly touched on the master classes that are being provided for the high school youth, which is an ongoing program throughout the year. And for the older youth, they have participated finally, in the Paxton and Patterson construction models were used. There is a CTE teacher, Janice Palazzari, and some of the programming was done through the central dining area space, which I understand was upgraded with additional electrical supply stuff to support using I guess, some of the programming that requires access to the appropriate electrical drain. There's a 15-day intensive program with collaborative education advisors, which is an external group. And maybe that's what Sarah was referring to as well, because she was referring to the 5 to 6 semester units plus industry certification in some cases that's provided. One of the things that the principal shared with us is that there's still some fuzziness in terms of who has responsibility for funding the ongoing CTE programming. Is it probation? Is it San Mateo County of Education? And the recommendation was with inconsistent staffing and materials funding, the programs would suffer. So gaining clarity and a MOU on how to deal with that would be our recommendation. So hiring a dedicated credentialed CTE teacher, identifying the additional programs, and clarifying the roles and funding responsibility. And that's it. That's what I have. That was a long presentation and
You did a great job. We did knock it out of the park.
And I encourage you all to read the report because there's a lot more structure and commentary on what a great job County Office of Education is trying to do in a challenging environment. And I think they've been wonderful partners in terms of being very receptive to our recommendations. And I just want to present these very comprehensive recommendations as a starting point for dialogue. And there may be, I have made the offer to Principal Siam and certainly to Sarah and Dr. Jimenez that we welcome any of their comments where we might have not gotten, I mean, this was a snapshot view, and so there might be updates already that they can share with us, and also just any points of clarification and their future planning going forward. We welcome the opportunity to share that with our community and just make sure that we're all celebrating the successes of all the hard work that's going on, and also sharing best practices and ideas for how to improve.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Thank you so much for leaving us with that awesome report there, Karen. Very detailed. One of my questions I have was regarding the collaboration between education and probation and ensuring these youth are receiving the holistic educational experience that the law says they're supposed to receive. What I didn't hear, I heard a missing component there was BHRS. I didn't hear that they were a part of this collaborated effort. And what I wanted to state was that I remember when I was going to court or I had a bad visit or something, it was impossible for me to focus in that classroom, especially the amount of time that some of these youth are looking at. I see them in visiting when I'm working with them, or when we're mentoring them on the unit on the weekends. That it's hard for them to focus, even in visiting. Like I see them, running their fingers through their hair and stuff, and I'm wondering why BHRS does not have a seat at that table when discussing the youth's educational experience there, because I am absolutely positive that mental health spills over into the classroom as it does in every other part of the life of a youth. And I think that could really help improve the holistic educational experience that we hope that these kids are receiving when they are incarcerated in our facilities.
I think that's an excellent point, and I'm not sure they're not there in some way. I just don't know the answer to that question. So that would be a great question for our BHRS colleagues and CO, County Office of Education colleagues to explain that, because I know that there are, the multidisciplinary team meetings and such, and so that, and the youth have access to their counseling and therapy. So it may be that is layered in some way, because I'm, the way I kind of sliced and diced the information was more like education code, Title 15, what the strict requirements are. But that is an excellent point. We all know, like, if we're upset about something, you can't concentrate and focus. And you've just had an upsetting court appearance, or a visit, or a disciplinary issue. Yeah, you've just got some upsetting information. Yeah.
And then the other question that I had was regarding the disciplinary model that exists when one youth maybe abuses technology in some way or fashion, that we are utilizing this shotgun effect where everybody is punished as a result of one youth's behavior. And I don't think that any society operates like that out here. For instance, if someone commits a crime in my neighborhood, that they're going to come and create a policy or law for people just in that neighborhood. So the disciplinary model that exists in utilizing educational technologies as a lever. I just think that that goes against what we are trying to promote here with the youth. And so I hope that there's some other model, creative model that they can use when this happens, rather than just punish everyone. And lastly, I'm part of Project Change, and so I can't tell you that having access to my laptop only from 9 a.m. to 12:30 or 1:30, that would be an excellent excuse for my professor, but I don't think they would accept that. And trust me, I'm doing homework late at night just because I'm wearing so many hats in the community, and then I carve out my personal time usually at midnight to do my education. And so I'm sure these youth, at times, they cannot sleep again because of the things they're going through, the conditions, the environment, that they could use their time better by being able to access technology, even from their rooms. Again, maximum security prisons offer tablets to convicted um, community members that are serving time in some of the most secure prisons that we have in all of the United States. And if they have access to technology uh, in their cells, then I think that our youth should also have the same privilege. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you so much for that report.
Those are excellent comments, and I can echo your feeling about the access to being able to do the work when it fits your mental energies. You know, we all have different capabilities and, you know, ways of learning and how we work best, and to be able to utilize those kind of dips in energy and heights of energy. Like, I can't imagine being restricted to a certain time period a day myself and being successful in coursework, because I just, you know, I needed that flexibility as well. And sometimes it was working till 3 a.m. and really getting something done. And it wasn't always between a certain regulated time. So, I mean, it is, I feel like all of these recommendations have an answer as to why we can't do it. But the challenge is to look for opportunities for how we can, you know, where we can. And on the disciplinary model, I mean, my impression is that sometimes it was more of a response to trying to figure out the answer to a problem and shutting down a situation that could get out of hand. And it was kind of like, you know, putting a cap on things and then trying to figure it out. But it is obviously has a real impact on any individual who's struggling to meet the requirements of a college course. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you so much for that report. It was very, very informative. I was just wondering, I know you won't be doing this report again next year, but if you were, what's the first thing that you would look for when you went back to the school to see like a clear improvement?
Well, that's an excellent question. Thank you. And so part of how I structured this report was thinking of all the questions that I'd like to see followed up on. We may not have all the answers today, but I've raised the questions. And I think I would just use this model, this platform, and use that as the first kind of line of questioning for next year, and just say, hey, how are we doing vis-a-vis this? Where did we get this right or wrong? Is this the right question to ask? What have we done since, you know, September, October 2025? How have things changed? And just use this model to kind of direct the conversation. And I know that in some cases, we might find, like I said, the metrics are being developed. That's not going to be an issue. Then, you know, that'll be answered. And we will keep our eyes and ears open, and also continue to hear from those in the community that are asking great questions, like Youth Law Center. They interact with youth, they study these trends and issues that are arising with access to education and access to technology. And I think a great help for me was reading some of those papers and talking to educators outside of the justice community, and just understanding what kind of optimal education should provide these youth. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that I would start here and keep filling in the blanks and working together with our colleagues at County Office of Education and Probation and creating kind of a good format that they feel comfortable with as well, that they can give us a lot of information up front and we can continue to kind of hone our process.
No, yeah, that definitely answers my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, for the sake of time, I think we'll go into the next reports, then we can approve them all. Okay, great. So,
Through the chair?
yes.
I had a question,
Oh,
two
yes.
questions. Wanted to know with the amount of youth that have IEPs, how many staff members do we have that are special education educators?
Vice Principal Arenas is a special education. He's credentialed for special education. I don't know about the new teachers though. Like
Okay.
I know that that one of this.
They have
I-
Mark
oh,
Squire.
Oh, Mark Squire is an RSP. Yes.
So
But in
two?
terms of the actual
Okay.
teachers, I'm not sure.
Mark
But yeah, Mark
Squire.
Squire is really the.
Yeah, he's the case manager and the specialized academic instructor. That's his job.
Good answer. That is the right answer.
Okay, great. Okay, so for the sake of time, the camp report is included in the agenda packet, and we won't be doing a presentation on
I'm
that.
sorry, through the chair. I think
Yes.
if we can ask to see if we have any questions or any raised hands.
We're going to do that at the end.
At
for
the
the
end,
sake
okay.
of time.
At the end, all the presentations are done.
Yeah, we're going to do all the presentations first. So, so as far as Camp Kemp goes, and Glenwood, these are closed facilities, but the civil grand jury this year did a report on all of our facilities, and it made us think, why aren't we, even though we're not required, there's no youth there, why are we not including these facilities in our annual inspection presentations to remind the community of the facilities that we have, what is out there, and how we are using them. So this is really just informational. There's no recommendations. It's just to make sure that we are always including all of our facilities and making sure that we're all on the same page. So this is a result of the grand jury report. So going into Camp Glenwood, this is the first time we're discussing Camp Glenwood that's not in passing since my time on the commission. Next slide, please. So just do a brief history. It opened in 1961. It's on 60 acres in La Honda. It's a beautiful facility. The adjacent property was actually the San Francisco Log Cabin Ranch where the kids used to go. So both counties shared in this space and sending kids out into a very natural environment. I hear from staff and kids who went there that it was an amazing place. It served justice involved male youth for 58 years, and it was one of the county's only least restrictive placement options prior to its closure for males. And it ceased operations in 2018 and it closed in 2019. Next slide, please. So currently, the county has entered into a contract with CAL FIRE. So that facility now is being utilized by CAL FIRE. I believe they do training. They have 2 hand crews that work out of there, and they are paying the county roughly $25,000 a month for the use of the facility, which works out to about $300,000 a year. Next slide. And so the impact on youth. So that's the road as you go in, and that little sign says private road. So the facility has not been used by youth since its closure. It remains unavailable for youth and will remain unavailable throughout the term of the lease. And I have been asking considerable questions and going through all the records and have found that the funding is going to the general fund. The funding is not even being set aside for youth programs, which that might be something that we might be interested in knowing, right? That's a facility that was made for our youth and now it's being utilized for other purposes. So I thought that was important to share. So I believe is that my last slide? Okay. So this was just basically to give you an update of what's happening, what we have, how we're using it, and what the status is of there. And you will see the report in the packet there. So now can we call for public comment? Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to move through the rest of the agenda.
No worries. Thank you, Chair. So we're now taking public comment for agenda item number 4, and I believe we do have a raised hand on Zoom. So Elliot Gann, you can unmute yourself and you can begin your comment whenever you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. First of all, I just want to thank all of the commission for the incredible work that you do. I really appreciate you. And I had a chance to present, thanks to Commissioner Rasmussen, to present at the JJDPC and met Commissioner Blanco there. So, and Mr. Bocanegra, I just want to thank you as well for the important point that you made regarding mental health services. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, Dr. Elliot Gann. I'm executive director of Today's Future Sound, and we provide the therapeutic beat making program that serves the youth services both in the youth in both the Pine and Forest units. I had a question regarding the daytime education program, and I'm wondering what kind of arts are provided during the daytime, and if students receive credit for that. Are there any career pathways, CTE or other, in terms of graphic design and other media arts and media literacies? And also what kind of STEAM integration there is in terms of the arts being done to help teach math. When I teach in the juvenile hall, I'm bringing in beat machines, and there are literally fractions on the side of my beat machine. So I find that it can be very helpful to teach kids in different ways who may have different learning styles or modalities about fractions, math, science, etc., STEAM, and also, just digital media in general, and access to music production, multimedia, video editing, that kind of thing, as well as if there's intercession as well. And I'm sorry, that's a lot of questions. I'm happy to repeat them if needed. And
Thank you, Dr. Gann. I can go ahead and
yeah,
and provide you that information, but in public comment, we're not allowed to answer specific questions.
Oh,
But
I
I can go ahead and get with you. I know how to reach you, and we can go over that. But I think those are excellent questions about art. I don't think we are doing art.
Got
And
it. Can I
we have
just
so
use?
many kids who are so artistic, as you know, Dr. Gann.
Yeah, and I'll
Thank you
just use
so
the rest
much
of my
for
time.
being here, and thank you for your comments, and thank you for.
Can I use the rest of my time really quickly?
Oh, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'll also comment just that I think it is a shame that Camp closed. I used to work there at the beginning of my contract 2 years ago, and I thought it was a really calming, grounding facility, and the girls seemed to really like it. So my impression was that was, and for us, it was a really powerful place to work. I also want to acknowledge that so I work as an independent contractor, and the other staff member that's working in the hall also does. Unfortunately, he got called into active duty and is being deployed. We're trying to explore if it's possible to bring in another one of our staff to take over his contract. And I'm just going to circle back with probation, if it were possible to also introduce myself to the chief. I would love to meet him as well. And I want to thank him for being here on his vacation. I just want to mention also with respect to San Mateo, College of San Mateo, they do a hip hop education conference every year, and they have done so for the past, I want to say 13 years. It's called Rock the School Bells, which we presented at annually. That's an incredible resource. I don't know if there's a way for students in the hall to attend that or be involved in some capacity. I do have connection with the organizers, but it's an incredible thing. And College of San Mateo has done some really innovative work. So I wanted to give them their props. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gann. I appreciate you. That's
Thank
some
you.
great information.
Last call for public comment. Nope. Back to you, Chair.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the educational evaluation for Hillcrest and SYTF, as well as the update on Camp facility and Camp Glenwood. Do I have a motion? Commissioner Bocanegra? Seconded by Commissioner Ginevro. So all those in favor of approving the reports as distributed?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All those wishing to abstain? The reports pass unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I'll pass the floor over to Commissioner Bocanegra for officer elections for 2026.
All right. Happy holidays again, everyone. This is for the 2026 officer nominations. So on behalf of the nominating committee, which included myself, Commissioners Ling, Venkatesh, and Clemmer, I present the 2026 officer nominations for San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. And our first nomination for chair goes to Commissioner Joanna Rasmussen, who was last week acknowledged by our Board of Supervisors for her steadfast, stellar, very decisive, and precise work that she does for our youth, not only in our county, but across the Bay Area County. So Joanna Rasmussen has been nominated for that position. Our second position for Vice Chair of Administrator, Commissioner Trina
What's going on,
Patton
man?
has been nominated for this position. And
I'm
it gives me
doing all
great
right. I'm
honor
just finishing
to
up
nominate Trina,
with this
who I have
virtual
worked with in the
Juvenile Justice
community on
Commission
other
meeting.
issues. And it gives
Can I
me
hit you back in a few?
so much pleasure
Like in a little
that
bit?
you are alongside of us and now an officer of this commission. And our third vice chair of membership position, Commissioner Jennifer Blanco, was nominated for this position. And again, it gives me great honor to nominate Jennifer. I have worked with her as well as on other issues across the county. And again, this gives me a great honor. So thank you to each of the nominated commissioners for their willingness to serve in these leadership roles. So I will now make a motion to approve these nominations. Perfect. So all those who approve. Okay.
I move that we approve the nomination.
Through the chair.
Thank you,
Through the
Mr.
chair.
Steele.
Through the chair. For clarification, this is all three, right? Okay, so all three with one motion. Okay, awesome. So I'll do roll call vote. We need a motion, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'll do it, yeah. Okay, sorry, roll call vote. Sorry. Vice Chair Huber Levy.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chair Ginevra.
Yes.
Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Yes.
Commissioner Bocanegra.
Yes.
Commissioner Chen.
Yes.
Commissioner Patton.
Yes.
Commissioner Vekintesh. And Commissioner Yuan.
Yes.
And Chair Rasmussen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Well, congratulations, everybody. Looking forward to 2020.
Congratulations to the elected officers as we begin a new year of important work in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bocanegra. Okay, so as has been alluded on numerous occasions about this Board of Supervisors update that we did, thank you everyone for your kind remarks. We were invited by President David Canepa to give a overview of the work that the commission does, and he was kind enough to present me with an award, an actual resolution, which was wonderful. I think that the Board of Supervisors was very engaged with what we had to say. They asked a lot of questions. It looks like President Corzo may be taking over our commission next year, which is exciting. We also got some commitments from Supervisor Spear, and we have some next steps. So we will, Commissioner Spear has called for a study session to take place up at the juvenile hall. So we'll be looking at the issues that we brought forward, as well as some other areas that we need to work on. I will be meeting with Supervisor Spear in the next month to go over some individual things that we spoke about. It was pretty neat. She came off the dais during the meeting, during public comment, to sit next to me to talk about the work we were going to do. So I was really excited about that. So that's where we are with that. So stay tuned on the study session. I would, of course, everyone is always welcome to attend, and your input is really important. So that was our, do we need to call for public comment? Oh,
Yes. A comment.
Yes.
I attended the meeting on Zoom and it was really energizing. First of all, you did an amazing job on your presentation, which obviously because it garnered a lot of attention. And with Supervisor Corzo, she committed to attending meetings going forward, which would be amazing. She's not here yet, but let's hold her to that. And there was a lot of attention to the issue of food in the hall. That was really heartening to hear that there seemed to be a lot of appetite for action. And that's good because there's a lot of reasons why we can't solve these problems, but it seemed like the people in the room were like, we've got it. This is shameful. We've got to be able to fix this. So that was really great. And I think it was a wonderful opportunity that you opened up for the commission to be heard. And it was great timing because the supervisors appear to really be engaged.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was my first presentation to the Board of Supervisors. So, so I'm so glad it went so well. So that's great. So thank you. And I know, yes.
Hi, I was
Yes.
just going to say that I also attended by Zoom, and it was a wonderful presentation. And one of the positives I think that really came out of it was not that just they recognized that the commission and the work we do is important, but there are things that need attention that the commission has itself been taking care of, when in fact, the leaders should know what's going on and be providing resources to help our children. And so I think it was a wonderful presentation. It was very effective. And I'm really glad that people got to hear about this really important work.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Patton. I appreciate that. Yes, Commissioner Bocanegra.
Yeah, I attended this supervisors meeting in person and spoke, and I have to say that it was an awesome presentation. And I do want to say thank you to the president of the board, Canapa, for providing you and recognizing you for everything that you do, not only for us here in this room, but for those that are incarcerated. And I also want to take the time to acknowledge the experience and the leadership in our supervisor, Jackie Spear. I was absolutely impressed on how she moved that board and how she stepped up and basically took this from us and said that we're gonna act on it. And just again, tip my hat to that experience. That's what we get when we have that level of experience on that board. And so I just wanted to acknowledge her for acknowledging you, and great work, Joanna, for putting us on the map, not only here, but across the state of California. You are the leader of the commission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you. Do we need to take? Okay.
To the chair, I just wanted to
Yes, yes.
piggyback. I know
Absolutely.
we're 3 minutes over. Sorry,
Okay.
everyone. I was surprised at first that it's been 2 years since the commission has even been before the Board of Supervisors. So I just like to request that we continue to present before the Board of Supervisors on an annual basis. And so I just want to piggyback on what Paul said about Supervisor Spear. I actually wasn't surprised that she was very engaged with the conversation. And what's the expression? My first language was Spanish, so I kind of not that good with the cliches and that saying about taking the bull by the horn. Well, she really did that. So I want to just acknowledge her for that leadership as well.
Thank you so much.
If you would like to comment on agenda item 6, please use the raise hand feature or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. And it looks like no public comment. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So now we're at announcements. I just want to announce that at our January meeting, we'll be setting our meeting schedule for 2026. We'll also be going over our annual report. It's a lengthy process. Every year we meet in January to sort of go over these materials. We did get our law enforcement, inspection facilities, late, the list late. So we'll probably won't be finalizing our last inspections until February. But we want to make sure probation gets a chance to look at those too. So that's what we have up again for the January 27th meeting. And then I also want everyone to be on the lookout in January before we meet again. Through our California Juvenile Justice Commissioners Collaborative that we started, we've been working with OICR to create a commissioner's needs assessment. So everyone's going to get a survey on, and we want to hear your feedback. And this is going to be something that we use throughout the state for training, best practices, ensure compliance. So when you get that survey from OICR, we worked hard to get that done. This is like groundbreaking work. Please respond to it. And then lastly, I want to thank the community. I want to thank the organizations. I want to thank the commissioners, everyone who contributed to our holiday gift bags. Paul and I are looking forward to bringing them up and are very excited that we have the opportunity to bring some joy to our kids up at the hall. So thank you so much. I'm sorry we're over. 7:21 meeting is adjourned. Thank you.